What up, athletes? Welcome back to my channel. It's Tuesday morning, Tuesday, May 23rd of May 2023. I want to talk to you about the tragedy in Guyana, the fire that killed 20 students at a dormitory in Mahdia. It's a small town in Essequibo, and students were asleep in the dorm at night. Fire destroyed the building. Something like this. This is the kind of building we're still building for kids, for school children in Guyana, and that is what I want to focus my attention on this morning. So the government of Guyana is still building substandard housing, dormitories and substandard schools for our children in 2023, and that is part of the mediocrity. We're here on Mandela Avenue, approaching the junction again. That is the junction with Mandela and the new East Bank Bypass Road, and I want to show you what they're building over here. This is the rebuilding of they're rebuilding a school that was destroyed by fire. This is the Georgetown Multilateral School. Right, this school was destroyed by fire. As you can see, there are no windows on the ground floor or the upper floors. What they have is blocks, concrete blocks with spaces in them. That means that if there's a fire, right, if there's a fire, there's no escape. That is how they're building for school children in Guyana. A building without windows, only spaces between cinder blocks to let the air through. So naturally this building can't be air conditioned, right? It will not be air conditioned. This is similar to the buildings around. In 2023, these are the buildings we are still using for schoolhouses in Guyana, and it is a similar building in Mahdia that was destroyed by fire, a building without much ventilation and without much escape, right? Without the kind of even windows that you could break and jump through. This is what this new school building looks like. So they're building a new school, but there are no windows. Is that insane? It's a fire hazard and it's dangerous. It's inhumane, and they're still doing that in 2023. So what was wrong with the building in which 20 students were killed? There were no fire extinguishers. There was no fire suppression system. There was no sprinkler system. There was no fire drills. No preparation for fire, right? And I remember even when I was in school back in the 1980s, there were regular fire drills. There were fire alarms, and you were told to leave the building single file, leave everything behind. I don't even know if they do that anymore. There were no building codes, no inspection of the building for occupancy levels and fire safety. This is what is still happening in 2023, and it's unacceptable. And recently it caused the deaths of 20 young Native American Amerindian children in Georgetown, in Mahdia, and it's totally unacceptable. It's what's happening now. It is also a political issue because this is happening in a time when a government decided to take over power, right? Basically they moved a no confidence vote in the previous government halfway through the term and locked up the system so that nothing could be done during the 5-year term of the previous government. And now when they've taken over power, all that we've seen is a rapid grab for money, right? So recently they've started the process of selling the Marriott Hotel. Now you must have heard that the Marriott Hotel is for sale. The reason that they're selling the Marriott Hotel is that somebody sees that they could make a personal profit off of it, because it cannot be in the interest of the nation to sell its assets. The whole point of having a sovereign wealth fund is so that we can hold a diverse portfolio of assets in this country, so, and around the world, right? So we have $1.4 billion in cash at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, but the government also owns the Marriott because taxpayer funds were used to build it in Chinese labor. Remember, they built the Marriott with not a single Guyanese laborer on the job. And now, the Jagdeo Ali administration is trying to sell it. For what reason? Well, the Jagdeo Ali administration claims that because of all these new hotels that are being built in Guyana, it will become more difficult to sell the Marriott for a profit if you wait until those hotels are completed. Now, this is absolutely insane. It's absolutely stupid. The reason why you want to keep the hotel in possession of the sovereign wealth fund, the state fund, is so that it is part of a diverse portfolio of state assets. Right now we're back at this junction. Right, this is the roundabout where the East Bank Bypass Road meets Mandela Avenue. That's Mandela Avenue. It's Tuesday morning, like I said. It's traffic jam. I suggested when they were building this roundabout that they should build an overpass instead to avoid the convergence of all these lanes of traffic and causing traffic jams. However, this is what we still do in Guyana. Absolute mediocrity. So mediocrity is the signature of our current political administration, causing the deaths of 20 minors, 20 kids in Mahdia, and now they're selling the Marriott Hotel. Now I'll tell you what should be happening to the Marriott. Instead of being sold, they should list it on the stock exchange, right? If they were any sensible, if they weren't trying to, you know, transfer assets from the states to their personal friends and family, what they would be doing is listing the Marriott on the New York Stock Exchange or the Toronto Stock Exchange or London Stock Exchange or even the Guyana Stock Exchange, Jamaican Stock Exchange, so that Guyanese citizens in the diaspora can buy shares in these assets, right? So if they really wanted to raise capital, let's say the government is trying to raise capital to build a new set of infrastructure or hotels or whatever the case might be, the way to do it is not to sell the Marriott to some private owner who will most likely be some friends and family of the administration when dust settles. But what they should be doing, if they were honest and not corrupt, is that they should be listing the Marriott on the Toronto Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, and then trying to get, you know, Guyanese and other people around the world to buy shares in the company, right? So you create a holding company for all of these assets that you want to raise capital for, and you sell shares. That is what a sensible government does. That is what the United Arab Emirates does. That's what Qatar does. If you know, for example, the famous Harrods department store in Kensington in London, that Harrods of London is owned by the Qatar Wealth Fund. The Wealth Fund of Qatar owns Harrods. Now that is what a sensible government does when it wants to diversify its portfolio of assets in its sovereign wealth fund. And that is what the government of Guyana should be doing with assets that state funds were used to build, like the Marriott Hotel. That's what's happening here, guys. We've had a tragedy in Guyana. We're in mourning because 20 kids were killed, and we have a government that's still doing foolishness. Do you think you understand that this is the sort of foolishness that we shouldn't be doing in 2023? Share them and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think and what is happening, about what is happening here in Guyana, about the sale of Marriott and the death of these 20 kids in Mahdia. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgian Guyana as we continue our tour of South Rhine Belt Gardens. Later!